Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Thursday night, so you know what that means. It's time for the Floor is Yours podcast coming at you. The podcast with the best theme song ever and the best looking cast ever, if I do say so myself. This is a pleasure to be with you guys once again for what's going to be another fire conversation. But hey, I can't do it by myself. I got my family with me today to help bring that heat. My brother from another mother. Mr. Gerard Flex, the producer, say what's up to the people.
Hey, good evening, people. Glad to be here. How's everybody doing out there?
Good. And of
Good.
course, the first lady of the Floor is Yours podcast, the queen herself, Miss Amisha IC. What's up, Amisha? How you doing, sis?
Oh, I'm doing well on purpose. Greetings. It has been a
I love
wonderful
that.
day.
I love that on purpose. It's got to be on purpose, right?
Oh, on purpose.
You got to
On,
fight the
when I
good
say
fight.
on purpose, on purpose. Because sometimes things gonna come to try to boom, boom, boom you. You got to count to 10 backwards and breathe in, breathe out, and be like, proceed forward.
Yeah. I love that. It's a double entendre. So on purpose, meaning intentional, and then on purpose, meaning I'm about the Lord's work. So I'm
Hmm.
intentional about doing God's work. I love it. I love it. Look
And
at
Yeah,
even
you.
if I fall in the flesh, I'm still about on purpose.
yeah. And make sure you talked about people coming for you, right? Like that's a real thing. They'll come for you for a number of reasons, but when you're doing God's work, just prepare, be prepared for the attack. Can we
And I'm
agree with
talking
that?
about, even when you say that, you better be prepared in your sleep. Because I shared with my brother, warfare is real. And I
Mm.
had a real fight. I was fighting. I don't even remember the scenery. All I know is I made contact in my sleep, but it came
Ooh.
out in the natural. And I had to wake up to make sure I had knocked nothing off my table. So I know that if I'm prepared in the natural, the devil's like, oh, hell, I can't even get enough sleep because she ready. I'm going
Yeah,
to stay ready. So I got to get ready, even when I'm unconsciously resting.
right on.
There you
Right
go.
on.
That's what I'm
But
talking
anyway, we
about.
just want to say welcome.
Well, welcome, folks. Hey, before we get started, we want to encourage everybody to like, share, and subscribe. Tell everybody in your contact list. Send out a group chat. Let everybody know the Floor is Yours podcast is on, and they're about to bring that heat. Thank you so guys so much for watching. So this week, there's a lot of conversation with every generation that comes on this planet about how to find the right person. We're looking for the best body, the best spirit, the best mind, the best career. We got our checklist of things. And so tonight, we're going to talk about finding a needle in a haystack. And how hard is it really to find that perfect person? And what are some of those obstacles that stand in the way from us from finding that person? And even when you find that person, what are the obstacles of keeping that person? And so that's
Absolutely.
what we're going to be discussing tonight. And I'm sure it's going to be a fire conversation. So let everybody know, hey, the Floor is Yours podcast is on, and they're about to talk that talk. And hopefully, prayerfully, we believe you guys are going to walk away with some good nuggets tonight. So, finding a needle in a haystack. Now, here's the deal. When finding a needle in a haystack, we all have our list. Everybody has heard the list of things to look for. Are lists really realistic? Do we think is there a do should we have standards or should we go by vibes? What do you think? Amisha, what do you think? Should you have like this prerequisites? If a man's going to date me, he's got to have a six pack, 6 foot, six figures, or are you going by vibes?
Now you already know when I talk about that 6 foot stuff. I'm so far away from, babe. I'm so far away from all that. That's just the truth. I mean, me
I'm
personally.
I'm a 6 foot brother, so hey, no shade to us, okay?
Well, I guess if you a 6 foot brother and your water flow well and you know how to communicate and all of that, that's a different story. But if you
Hmm.
are a parched land in the desert, you the desert dry land. I'm
Yeah,
just
you
saying. So for me, I've never been the list girl though. Because I feel like when you put a list, you do keep yourself in this smaller bracket, um, because I've learned that there are some very valuable men that you don't look at, that may not be on that list, but they have very good substance, and we just kind of look over them for one reason or another. However, if the list works, if the list works for you, that's what you do, but it does not work for me. So no.
Gotcha. You made a lot of good points there, but I'm gonna ask Gerard to chime in on this one. How realistic is it to have a list? Is it practical, or is it just it could probably block you from meeting your blessing?
I think it could be both. I think it depends on the person and it depends on the list, right? So, of course, that list, I think there are some foundational things that relationships will benefit from, right? And some of those things on that list for me would be trustworthiness. We talked about those intangibles, right? Patience,
Hmm.
the ability to communicate. And I'm not saying that you have to be perfect in everything that's on a quote unquote list, but I think one of the major things, and correct, let me know if y'all agree with this or not, is to go into a sports analogy. Are you coachable? And I'm not saying that your
Hmm.
needs to coach you, but are you willing to grow and learn and expand on, whatever those things are? Let's just get to some of the simple things. Like me and Misha, if we were dating, and you're good at finances and I'm not, am I open to learning, or am I just this stubborn, dishonest dude that want to do it the way I want to do it? So I think that list, I don't think that anything is necessarily wrong with it unless you have those things on there that just really surface level meaning things. So that's what I
You know, you said something that I like. I don't want to. I wouldn't want a list. I would definitely want. I would go want a growth chart though.
I like that. A growth chart.
Okay.
Explain it.
Yeah, because when you look at it, that means like, okay, I can come in with some areas that I know I'm weak in, and then we're gonna
Hmm.
sit here together, and he may be stronger in those things. So I figure if we focus more on what's the imbalance to us, and can we balance out? And if we balance out, that means the chart does have some growth. And even if there's a decline on the chart, then that's an area that we know that we need to put more emphasis on to make this be a healthy chart of growth. So I definitely prefer a growth chart
Yeah.
over a list.
Hey, Gregory, can I ask you to put this in the discussion now or later? Like, what are those foundational things that we think that's probably should be non-negotiables? Like, you need to be here. So maybe we can work that into the discussion.
Absolutely, absolutely. I was gonna say about list. A list should can be a composite of lessons learned. It should be a list that includes, here are the things now that I know my worth. Here are the things that are acceptable and unacceptable. I know that I am worthy of someone with integrity. I know that I'm worthy of someone who's honest. I know that I'm worthy of someone who chooses me. And so when people create lists, I think it is appropriate and wise to have certain standards. I don't think there's anything wrong with saying, "Hey, I want someone that can match my energy professionally, spiritually, and emotionally." But
Mm.
still be open to some flexibility there. So you
Mhm.
may find everything you want, but it comes in a package that looks different. Because what if God told you, as to all the ladies watching, to marry a preacher that's 2 inches shorter than you?
A
If you
preacher.
heard from God, right?
Well,
If
that's
you
a
heard
double
from
whammy,
God,
ain't it? A preacher.
yeah,
Is
yeah.
there a bad rap for preachers?
It's not a bad, it's not a dig at anybody. But if what God wants for you looks different than what you wanted for yourself, are you open enough to receive it?
So with that being said, you talk about this list. So that would be equivalent to a grocery list that we make. We write a grocery list. We get in the store and we're going to check off this grocery list. And I promise you, 9 times out of 10, there's a couple of things in that basket that was not on that list.
Hmm.
Mm. And I'm gonna let that marinate. So take that with your list and compare that. So definitely what you just said, that if you've got the list and God come through in the grocery store, I said pick up some beets. I don't like beets. Get them. So now it adjusts the list that you have put out there, because he said, I know you need a little bit more fiber because somewhere you need heart health. So these beets gonna help you. So I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but that was some good food for thought right there.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Before we get into the non-negotiables, I think even before we get to the list and are looking for the right person, we first have to become the right person. If you were to meet the person of your dreams, would they even be interested in you? If you met someone that had all those things on your list, would they find you to be someone as a suitable partner? And so, before you meet the person that you really want, you have to become the person that you want. And so, one of the important things that I encourage people to ask a person what they're looking to be serious about is, what is the worst trauma you've had to overcome? How did you do it? And are you actively trying to overcome it? What's the worst thing? What's the trauma that you've had to deal with? Have you overcome it? And are you actively overcoming it?
That's
And
good.
so I think it's very important. It's very important before you say, I want that person, you got to become that person. You got to represent. And one of the hardest things to do is look in the mirror and say, I need to improve here. Because if I met the person that I want, they're not going to be interested in me. That's a humbling thing.
Hey, just to add on that to a couple scenarios, or just one
Hmm.
specifically, I've heard people say like, "Hey, I want a person who's a good communicator because sometimes I'm not the best at it," and I think that's an unfair burden to place on your potential mate. You know, he needs to be patient, or she needs to be patient and listen more. Well, that might be true, but I don't think that relieves you of the responsibility to grow and be a better communicator as well.
It doesn't. You're absolutely right. No one should be able to should have to carry any aspect of a relationship only by themselves, be it the finances, be it the emotional well-being, but what the romance area. It should be a partnership in the area where both people are trying to grow. You're absolutely right, 100%. Um, so as we are asking our person to constantly struggle and grow, we have to also put that same onus on ourselves to grow and to move forward. Um, but I do want to jump back because this was an interesting thing I think about the non-negotiable parts. What are some things that we say are absolutely deal breakers? Before we get into that, though, I want to let the people that are listening, what is a deal breaker for one doesn't necessarily have to be a deal breaker for all, because there's many people who have overcome different challenges. And so, but what's most important is you find out what honors you. So, Gerard, what is a deal breaker for you in a relationship?
I ain't dating a pedophile. Hey man, you all right? Let me be serious for a minute, man.
I mean, that could, but you probably got some
I
women
just
out
got
there
through
Yeah,
saying,
watching that too. Right before this show, I
did you?
started watching it. Yeah, I haven't finished it yet. I gotta go back. Yeah.
Yeah, man. You know, let's so what we mentioned earlier is some of the things that's centered around values and principles, like, and I'm talking about objective values and principles, and this is where I have landed in my seasoned years. You know, um, like, are you trustworthy? And we said that earlier, and I think that's like at the forefront. If I can't trust you, if you're not worthy of my trust, and likewise, right? And
Hmm.
let's be honest, some of the times the issues around trust may not have to do with the person you're with, but maybe
Hmm.
something to do with a past relationship. But
Hmm.
regardless of where it stems from, if there is a lack of trust in that relationship, I think to your point, like you're not ready. So that would definitely be one trustworthiness. I think a lot of other ones, depending on the variance of it, you know,
Yeah,
because it can bleed over into if you're not a good money manager. If you're
I like
trustworthy
that.
and then you are able to work on improving in your money management, I think we can work. But again,
Yeah,
I can't trust you in those different areas, for me it's a no go.
yeah. I love that. People often ask what's the most important quality in a relationship, and generally most people say communication. What I feel is the most important characteristic of a healthy relationship is trust. I think even that's more important to me than good communication is trust. Amisha, what's a deal breaker for you? Well, he got to go if he do this.
if he therapeutic, if he need therapy,
Mm,
Mm,
yeah,
yeah.
that's my journey. If you not have put in the work to address you and some things that you need to, I'm not her. I'm not. I've journeyed that in relationships pretty much all my life. And I'm talking about not just relationships with a partner, but when you're therapeutic with everybody, people lean on you. Therapeutic doesn't work for me anymore because that means I have to pull so much of me, you drain. So now I'm just, if you got therapeutic, not what it ain't even therapeutic. I don't have therapeutic on my forehead no more because clearly I had it on me. But if you've got some things that you know that you need to work on, right off
yeah,
the top, it's a no for me.
really.
Yeah.
So you're not saying if he is in therapy, you're saying someone
If
who
he's working on
needs
himself,
therapy,
that's a
but
different story. But you just don't
okay.
just you can't be like, oh, I'm going in and then we got to work on. No, I need to. You got to be done worked really good because you say you want somebody to that's a mirror of you. I've put in work for me,
Hmm.
and I'm not going back in boxes I'm not dumbing me down anymore. So if I have to dummy down to be, if it's a dummy down situation, it's not me. It's
Yeah,
not for me. So I don't. Where we are in life, I don't have the time to invest in it anymore.
Mm, yeah.
gotcha. That's good. That's good. For me, it is high interest. There's a lot. I'm a very forgiving person, so I'm not looking for a perfect body. I'm not looking for the perfect cook. I'm not looking for the perfect housekeeper. All of those things are small potatoes to me.
Hmm.
But I need to know when I'm with you, you choose me. I want to feel like I am the apple of your eye, if you will. Like this is my dude. This is the one. And I think as we discuss our non-negotiables, what we also discover on the flip side is that it's a response to our trauma. We are seeking in relationships to be healed because a great relationship can be healing. A great relationship can be healing. You don't get all the way healed outside of a relationship. You actually get completely healed within a loving relationship.
I can agree.
When you're in a when you're in a relationship that contradicts the pain and the hurt that you've experienced, that is part of your healing process. Not avoiding a relationship, but in a relationship that contradicts the negative past, that is part of the
And can
healing.
I add to that
And
too? Not
so,
only are you healed, but you're
please,
conscious of your healing. Sometimes you don't know how strong you are, or how, let me take the word strong out, how
Hmm.
much you've grown and how much you've healed until you're placed in some similar situations as those that broke you before. So you're right. Sometimes you have to jump out there on faith and expose yourself to the possibility of being hurt, right? But that's a scary thought. But if you've done the work, hopefully you got some guardrails, some barriers, some pivot points where you can quickly escape. Take your time if it's an intimate relationship, jobs, moving, whatever it is. So I think you, to your point, you're going to have to get in it, but I think you should have some pivot points, some barriers, some safeguards. That way you can move out if need be. And we got some comments coming in the audience. Keep them coming, and we're gonna make sure we get to them.
yeah, yeah. To just continue this line of thinking for a moment, a healthy relationship is comforting and confronting at the same time.
Mm.
When you're with a good partner, they're going to challenge those abandonment issues. If they're showing up healthy, if they're showing up spiritually available, spiritually mature, emotionally mature, and whatever your trauma is, abandonment, trust, whatever it could be, when you're with someone who is healed, they're going to push up against that and they're going to say, okay, how healthy are you really? Not maybe literally, but it's going to make you look at yourself and go, maybe the issue isn't the person outside anymore. Maybe it's me. Maybe I do have to deal with these things. A healthy relationship will confront you with your own inner demons and make you face them. And so I think a lot of people run from emotionally available, emotionally mature people a lot of times because they don't want to face those demons because it is scary. It is scary to look in the mirror and go, I'm the enemy. I'm my worst enemy.
And then at times they run to them because they draw from them, but then when they see the challenge, it turns around to make them have to change and do better and to face them. Then it's this wall put up, but you still want the the aroma of that person, but you're not
Mhm.
willing to do the work to make the relationship work and get healthier. So then
Yes.
that person over here is now being depleted and is like, you know what? Either they're gonna stay and keep getting depleted or it's time to exit. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I think it'd be good to talk about what that could potentially look like. Like if I go and meet Misha and I see like, man, she's an amazing woman. I've been
Hmm.
through a lot and this is what I am needing. I can speak from my heart and tell you like, hey, Misha, that's what I need. And if I have that in me, I'm gonna be a better person. I will, I might, I'm going to. But it doesn't speak to the work that I put in or haven't put in. So I think you'll meet people and they have the best intentions initially, but when the rubber meets the road, when it's time to sit in self and self-regulate emotions, when you're not there to validate me or acknowledge my importance, can I maintain management? And I think that's what it could potentially look like in the beginning. I'm saying all the right things and I'm on cloud nine as we're getting ready to know each other, but that puts a huge burden for you to operate at the high level all the time, which is unfair to you, if that makes sense.
It does.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Here's a question for you. I want to throw out to everyone, and please, I want to hear the comments on this. Can you love two people at the same time? Is it possible to love two people at the same time? So, I may get in trouble for this, but I don't think my client that I'm about to tell you his story is why, and he is dealing with
I mean, we don't
wanting
know
to
him
have a.
anyway.
That's right. He's wanting to have a poly relationship. So he
Hmm.
wants to practice ethical non-monogamy. So he is saying he wants to be
What?
upfront and honest. He wants to be
Ethical
upfront and
non.
honest. Correct. It's a new terminology.
Yeah,
Ethical
give it to
non-monogamy,
me in
right?
simple format.
Yeah. So it means I want to be able to openly date other people, and you're aware of it.
Mm.
So you know that I am dating and having sex with other people,
Oh,
and um, and you're okay with that, and I'm okay with that too. Not necessarily not necessarily like an open marriage where, well, I guess you could say like an open relationship, but um, the issue is here within himself. He says, I don't want to be someone who feels like I have to shrink who I am, and I don't believe one person can give me everything that I want. So I'm choosing to practice ethical non-monogamy because this woman this other woman is very encouraging. This other woman is fun to be with. She's you know, this other woman is encouraging. Whatever the case may be, I get everything I want from many different people. And so the question on the table is, can you love more than one person at a time if you feel like this one person isn't giving you everything that you need? We're looking for that needle in the haystack. Is there actually a great question would be asked, is there such a thing as a needle in a haystack? Is that a realistic goal to say I can find that one person that's going to give me everything I want? Amisha?
your client gonna get beat up.
It has come a long way. He has come a
Well,
long way
I'm
because he
just
was
saying if he get the right two piece the combination right, or better yet wrong, one of them gonna give him the business. I'm just telling you what I'm talking about. I
yeah,
don't think you.
yeah, yeah.
Uh-oh,
There has been a lot of growth with
we
him.
back because
Yeah,
I mind blacked out for a
there
minute.
you go.
Okay, I don't that. That's a hell no for me. I'm just saying. I mean, what? No.
Yeah.
I mean, I love my children's father. I don't want to be with them, but there's a love for them. But I don't want to love two people that I've got to be like, oh, I'm going over here to hang out with Tom because Tom make me laugh. But then I'm going over here with Tyrone because he beat my back out. You know what I'm saying? So who you
Or has a good business mind
wait a
or is
minute.
a good cook, you know.
I need you to not
Yeah.
laugh hard like that.
It's
We
the
grown
distinction
on.
to me.
I didn't say anything wrong. I just worded it right. I'm just saying. So I don't need you to one man to give me this, and I gotta go over here. That's just too much wear and tear. I mean, mentally, emotionally, physically, everything. So no. And
No,
even if you
no.
you may not find everything exactly the way you want it, but I do believe that there will be a percentage of what you want, the greater percentage of the man or woman that you are want to do life with, you will get the most of that you're looking for. And the things that may be the smaller factors, then talk about it and let's work on it.
So ethical non-monogamy is a no for you.
Oh no, it's a hell no for me.
Okay. And you're also saying that you can't find everything you're going to need in one person. Did I hear that right?
Right, because the comments are gone. Because I looked over there, they were saying that the like one of them is like a God fearing man. You can have a man that fear God, but do he know how to handle you? He
Yeah.
may be God fearing, he may be good at the church, as the best brother ever. But what does that? So we can say that, but there's more to it than just fearing God. Will you align with what God wants you to do?
Mm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Preach the word,
Gerard,
sister.
what's your thoughts about ethical non-monogamy? And
Yeah.
can you find everything you want in one person?
And you had the third one too. Can you love more than one person? Or
Oh,
maybe
Hmm.
that was the way of
it was
reframe.
in there.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
wanted to
that was
start off
good.
with that one first. Can you love more than one person? I think just technically, yes. you just think about it, take it out of the intimate relationship realm and look at your kids. If you have multiple
Yeah.
children, you love more than one person, right? So now I think when you get into the intimate relationship realm, you have to be realistic about it. Like, again, what does that look like? You only have so much time, so much energy, so much effort to put. And usually relationships are about devotion, right? I am devoting this special space in my life for this person. Now, if you're loving someone, multiple people, you're limited. Somebody's going to be limited, right? You can only give so much effort to each person. So I think that you have to be realistic about that part. So to answer your question, can you? I think technically and absolutely you can. But what does that look like? I don't know that a lot of people take that into account, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, there's this famous line in Winnie the Pooh. And if you haven't studied Winnie the Pooh, I just want you to type in, if you get free time, Google Winnie the Pooh quotes, because it's got some deep stuff there. And one of the lines, no, this was actually Tinkerbell. Tinkerbell said, if you have to choose between me and another person, choose her
Yes.
because I want to be your first choice, right? And so I define love and being in love like this. Love is something that you appreciate and have a great infatuation with. In love means exclusivity, meaning there's no one else that holds this place in my heart than you do. You have an exclusive place that no one else can enter into. And so I think, like we say, we can love ice cream. That means I can love strawberry, I can love vanilla, I can love cookies and cream. But if I say I'm in love with chocolate ice cream, that means there's no other flavor that can compete with that.
I hear that all the time.
So my personal position, I'm not saying I'm right, I'm not saying I'm wrong. But what I am saying is that there has to be, and I think Gerard, you were saying the same thing too, is that there has to be some division of importance or priority. When you say you're in love with someone, that means you hold an exclusive place in my life and in my heart
Yeah.
that nobody else can intrude on. I
Yeah.
hold you at a higher, more valuable position.
I,
And
I,
so,
I like that. And I think it's important to, I like that you brought clarity to that because that does mean more. And it's a different type of love for someone you're in an intimate relationship with than,
mhm,
than your kids. At least I hope so. But
yeah, I hope so. Yeah,
people
because
from
you
our
can love your
Yeah,
friends, you can
right
love your
absolutely.
there.
family. Yeah, I mean, you can love multiple podcasts, but we hope everybody in love with The Floor Is Yours, right? This is the one. This is the
Yeah.
best one out there, right?
And
Yeah,
teach the people, man. Teach the people.
yeah, yeah. But as far as finding the needle in the haystack, is there one person that's going to fulfill all your needs? There is. His name is Jesus, because whoever you meet is going to be some type of void. They're going to have bad morning breath. They're going to scratch. They're going to smell funny from time to time. It is going to be some level of compromise that you're going to have to deal with within any type of relationship. So I think it's important, and I think it's very intentional of God not to make anyone important. I mean, anyone perfect. He always wants to leave a space that only He can fill. And so, even with the best situation, even with your soulmate, even with your twin flame, even with your boo thing, there's going to be a certain spot that only God can fill. And that is a realistic expectation to go into these relationships with, knowing that you cannot supply and fill all my needs. To a certain extent, you're going to make my life happier, but I'm still going to need another source other than you. And so, Gerard, you said it time and time again in multiple episodes. One person cannot be your everything. You're going to always have to go to God to get completely full. And so, I think that's a realistic uh, expectation to have on a relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you're gonna have to go to God to go back to God so that He can help you keep refueling what you got with the person you got. Because it's gonna be some time you're gonna have to go, Lord, I'm about empty, but
Yeah,
my heart still beats for Him. But there's a part that He kind of pulling too much from me, and I need you to give me the capacity to still deal with to handle Him right. Because I don't want to have to mishandle Him.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Hey, y'all, let's go to commercial and then to the audience. Keep the comments coming. And on the other side is commercial break. We'll come with the comments and then continue the discussion.
that's great.
Real men talk. If I had a group of brothers that I could confide in, a group of brothers that encourage me to be the best man possible, that hold me accountable for actions, but brothers that won't beat me down when I fall short. If I had brothers like that in my life, I'd open up more about my challenges. I wouldn't be afraid of being vulnerable and transparent. I'd be more deliberate in my actions and not scared of failure. I wouldn't act like everything is okay when I'm hurting inside. Sometimes it seems like there's an all-out assault from the world on black men, and hurtful words from my lady cut deep. I can't show my pain, 'cause if she knew that she hurt me, she would do it over and over again, hoping that each time cut deeper than the last. I do understand that women have challenges too. That's why I work so hard to be the strength she needs. But I need a band of brothers who understand that sometimes I simply want them to listen. Sometimes I need advice, but other times I need a shoulder to lean on. I need a band of brothers that create a safe space that gives us all a chance to talk about our fears. Because it's therapeutic when real men talk. Real men talk. Real men talk.
That was heavy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was good. That was
Cover
good
a lot
though.
of things.
Yeah, yeah. I've said this statistic before, but it's true. The number one killer of men under the age of 40 is suicide. And
Mm-hmm.
so, black men. And so, we need to pay attention to it because without creating spaces and places for men to talk, we are an endangered species. Black men are an endangered species. If it's not incarceration, if it's not assassination, then it's suicide. And so we need these places where men can feel comfortable talking and healing and making and learn how to make better choices and not feel that vulnerability is being fragile. No, it's being healing, it's being whole. So I like that
Amen.
real men talk.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go to a
You know,
couple of these comments right here. We got Miss Coley, Miss Nicole Brown, straight out of Texarkana. She said,
Oh, yeah,
this
I
is
can
when
see.
we were talking about the non-negotiables. She said,
Mm-hmm.
don't have a relationship with God or zero accountability. So those are two heavy hitters. And I let y'all talk about one or the other or either both of them. Relationship with God or zero accountability.
I like to talk about this one because everyone says you want to find someone where you're equally yoked. Here's my spin on it. You don't want to just find someone who has a relationship with God. You want to find someone whose expression of faith is the same as yours. Not someone who just shares your faith, but someone who has the same expression of faith. And what I mean by that is it normal to see you read the Bible at home? Is it normal to see you raise your hand and worship like I do? Is it normal to hear you play gospel music while you're going to work like I do? Is it normal to see you get on your knees to pray at night before you go to bed like I do? It's one thing for you to believe in God like I do and be saved and accepted Jesus like I have. But when it comes to how I express my faith with integrity and
Mm-hmm.
honesty, that's what really matters most. And so being equally yoked doesn't just mean that this person is saved and go to church. Being equally yoked means you have the same expression of faith, not just the same faith.
That's good. That's
I'm,
good. I
I'm,
think
I'm gonna cash app you $10.
yeah, I was gonna say I know Michigan can expound on that. What you got, I see?
Oh no, I agree totally with that. And my reason being is because I've lived it. And that's a lot of things too. For me, what I'm learning to do is speak more about it because so many times we choose not to because of where we're from and how people are going to respond to what you have to say. But truth and fact is to help somebody else know that when you allow yourself to go into those patterns of just thinking, oh, because they have a relationship with God, that's not taken away from the person that has the relationship with God. It's about what we collectively don't walk the same path with on that journey in what that looks like.
Yeah,
If I know that I have a calling on my life and to dummy that down for the sake of having a man of God that does not see or value that, then it's a no. That's a deal breaker. And so I definitely believe that's true. So he can be a man of God, but are you definitely, like you said, on the same path? Do we look at things the same way? Do we honor, the way we pray? Will we pray together? Is it okay for me to pray for you? It's a lot of things that go, because if not, then you begin to feel like then God is not failing me in my marriage. We're failing to meet what he would have us to be according to the word as a married couple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. That's good. That's
Oh,
real good.
I like the way you broke that you put that out there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, sis.
You're
And what
welcome.
about the accountability part? We hear a lot about accountability, but I think it's a lot of misunderstanding about accountability. And I say that because, and we've talked about this before, we try to hold people accountable who don't have a sense of responsibility for the health of that situation.
Mm,
Right.
Holding
Right. Right.
somebody accountable, I think, truly has to include, like, I feel responsible for the health of this situation too.
mm,
So I think that's where we got to start, is understanding if that person has sold out, has bought into that relationship too. And if they are, now you can talk about accountability and what it looks like. But if not, I just think it's a waste of time.
Yeah, and I feel like
And I think
that's a part too, that when once like he said earlier, you have to already be in that place that you hold your own self accountable. If there's something that I know
Mhm.
to the left, and I'll be like, now, Misha, prime example, because I talked to Gerard about everything. The storm was here on, what was that, Tuesday?
Mhm.
When I got home, it was a little later because usually I go on Mondays to see my grandson. Got home, the whole garage was full, maybe because they was like, the hell ain't finna tear up my car. So it was all the way going up to like the fourth floor where I would have to park, which is way from where I stay. And so there are some, parking spots that you pay for, but there are specific ones that we know that nobody's in. I was in the right one, but then I ended up moving my car. And I parked it there, went to sleep. Got up the next morning, my car was fine, but there was a note on it. And it was saying, um, this is my parking spot that I paid for. And it said, you ought to be thankful that I didn't have you towed. Please don't park here again. I could have had attitude like, who they talking to? However, the accountability factor was the fact that that is something, didn't know but that particular one, but it was for me what I did to hold myself accountable. I wrote a note and I put it back on the car with $20 in the envelope. I want to apologize for the inconvenience that I caused you on Tuesday night. You didn't have to extend me grace, but I will say thank you that you did. I said, here is $20 that you can put towards the parking fee, her parking, whatever, or his, or you can have lunch on me. Have a pleasant weekend. And that's accountability, because I inconvenience somebody. And even in relationship, if I inconvenience or I do something that does something to you, I have the responsibility to come and hold myself accountable in that moment and address it. So when you get to that place that you can do that, then I desire to have somebody that will be able to do the same thing, because they put in the work and know that it's important, because it helps us flourish together.
Man, that's
That's
good.
good.
That's good. Yeah, the self accountability, I think, is super important, especially with adults, right? Two adults, consenting adults who can manage and do on their own. I think accountability between each other is a lot of, like, maybe buy-in and voluntary, if that makes sense. I
Mhm,
can't make someone be accountable. So I think, to Misha's point, it starts with some self accountability too.
mhm,
Yeah. Yeah. Accountability is also a sign of emotional intelligence. If you can't be
Mm,
corrected, then you'll never grow. I
yeah.
think when you're choosing a mate, you are looking for someone who should have that already built in. There should be some friends, some family members that they say, when this person tells me to be quiet, I be quiet. So Gerard and I are very good friends outside of the show. And so if Gerard calls me up and say, "Hey, Gregory, I noticed you said you had this goal that you was going to try to prepare to run a marathon, but you're not doing it," he should call me out if he's really a friend. And I think you're looking for a mate that says, who are the people that are around me that I've given permission to check me, that I have deemed to be wise, loving, and have wisdom, that can speak to me in a tone that I will listen to. And so you're also looking for that too as well.
That's good. That's
mhm.
good, man. Appreciate both y'all's input. Thank you for the question, comment,
Yes,
calls.
thank
Got
you,
another
Colin.
one. Yeah, so I'll let someone read this one.
Sure.
Um,
Will you pray for me when I don't have the strength to pray for myself? Will you choose me on the days it doesn't come easy? And I'll do the same for you. I'm not asking for perfection, just a God fearing man with ambition and a man who's committed.
Who's
That's
committed
all.
to growing and doing better in this life. That's all I want.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All I want, when people put that disclaimer, all I want, it, it, it makes me giggle a little bit because that is a lot to ask for. Because, and I say that in a way because we all are selfish. What you're looking for, the man that you want, he's looking at for that in you as well. And so sometimes what we find is who's doing it, who's going to be doing it more. So I'm with you so you can pour into me, but you're with me so I can pour into you. There has to be some level of maturity that says, I water you and you water me, and we both grow at the same time. When you say that's all I want, what it can sound like to men is you're not willing to be as equally available for me. Although you did say I'll do the same for you, there is this sensibility that I need you to show up first and more often than I do. So just a little caveat. Sometimes
Get it,
that
those I
particular
statements.
phrasing
Those I
can
statements can
scare
sound.
can scare a
Yeah,
man away.
yeah, yeah. Make sure what you want to comment on this one.
Um, so I do want that I want him to be able to pray for me, right? I just think that from there's a level you do want covering. I've also seen it where maybe they are praying for you. I don't really know. What if they never show you that they're praying for you? Because some people want it to be present where they have to see you. We holding hands and I hear you speak a thing. And just be what if you don't see that? Does that make you not think that he does or however? But then I've also seen it where we'll start you won't we when you things go bad, if we used to praying together and we get a little tension, then we don't pray together, you'll go pray by yourself. So I don't yeah, I want those things. And it was says, will you still choose me on the days that it doesn't feel easy? And I'll do the same for you. um I don't want to put it where if you don't do it, then I'm not gonna do it because it would kind of it could kind of feel that way, like, oh,
Yeah,
because if you
yeah,
don't do it, then I'm not gonna do it for you today either. But I get her
right.
point of view, and those are her desires. So I'm not going against what her desires are. I'm just commenting from a place that would be on my end. So that's what I meant on that part.
Yeah,
But
yeah. Oh, go ahead. My bad.
you're fine. And so, yeah, because I'm expressing like if we get into will you pray for me? And I think later on she goes down and says that those things will be present in the beginning that we would know because it
Yeah,
about God finger things like that. Because that will be the connecting factor right there. Like, how do we pray just even in dating? Because the way we set the atonement in the beginning, because like you said, we can go out to eat, cackle, laugh a little bit, watch, something on the TV, but how does that really set when I may come one day when we're going out to eat and I'm not having it, it hadn't been the best day. Can you feel that my spirit is off? Can you feel that there's an heaviness and that you just know what to do? And it may not be words, it may just be a hug. It's just being really connected by the spirit.
yeah,
And that's gonna be a little deep for some people. Some people are not to that place, but if that's where you are, it will definitely be a place where you know that there is a sense of peace with the right person. That there would be some you're gonna have to work on it, but some things will not have to be hard to do anymore. That it will have some ease to it.
yeah. That's good. That's good. And I just want to focus on that one statement when she said, "Will you still choose me on the days it doesn't come easy?" I love that statement particularly because
Yeah.
I think it's something that you definitely need to know in the beginning, right? At least not that they're going to do it perfectly, but that they're conscious that there are going to be those days where I'm not as lovable. And then what? And I think if we was to ask that question in the beginning and someone said no, it's going to help you make your decision, right? If you want to move forward. So
Mhm.
yeah, that's a good one where you choose me. And I think sometimes, especially in the beginning, when you're going through that dating stage and I'm putting my best foot forward, it's easy to love you then. But let's be honest, like when the dust settle and I need to go back to my corner and manage some of my own affairs and I'm not the priority at that moment. Can I self-regulate? Can I, or if you just having a bad day, and you don't want to be bothered, can I manage and maintain on my own? or am I that dependent on you where, now it's going to cause friction? So I do love that second clause of that statement right there,
Mhm.
particularly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
There's a
Corley's
lot of
really Corley is in the comments, baby.
Yeah, there's a
It's the
lot of
comment.
variables to that. I don't want to pick, and thank you, sis, for this comment, and I love it. I love it. I love it. Men don't always pray with the level of enthusiasm that women do. And so he may do a short 10-second prayer and it be sincere. And I think sometimes it could be misinterpreted that if it's not to the level of a passion that you want it to be, then it's not heartfelt. And so sometimes men, men sometimes pray like, "Hey God, I need $100 by Friday."
Man, make it plain, make it plain.
That's some not every man
Yeah,
hoops and hollers and speaks in tongues,
yeah,
not every man. And
that's
so
good.
just knowing what does sincerity look like for your person,
Yeah,
and then also um, how how does he know this is a day that you need to feel chosen?
yeah.
You know?
Well, it's gonna be some hit and miss. I don't think it's no one way, but yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go to this comment right here. This one we was Gregory, when you was talking about the difference with being in love versus loving someone. I like,
Right.
yeah, yeah. So if he's having multiple love affairs, if you will, he's not in love. He just loves them.
And
And
he don't even love them.
yeah,
He's just infatuated with what's being fulfilled for himself.
yeah,
All
So
he's looking.
what we are exploring now, not to tell his business, is the ideal of vulnerability. What is that he's fearing from loving and giving himself completely to one person? That tends to be a block for him. That says, I can't show all of myself to one person because I feel danger there. And so we're working on letting
yeah,
that guard down. Why are you afraid to give yourself wholly to just the one person?
Well, you need to tell him why he want to get unclothed with them women. He need to get naked before the Lord. Then when he get naked before the Lord, he'll be able to let that wall down.
yeah, yeah.
Just
Yeah,
my little biblical standpoint.
Hey,
yeah.
and then um Dr. Romani, she does a lot of work in the mental health space. So she talks about this idea of loving, in a certain way, like what people will try to define if what they're showing or what they're experiencing, is it real love? And she,
Mhm.
Hmm.
her statement was like, hold on there. She was talking to this lady. She was like, hold on there, lady. Now you don't get to define his love. Now,
Mhm.
and she gave the example of wine. You know, is made from grapes, so whether it's fermented long enough to where now you can, get a little tipsy, or if it's just regular grape juice, it's still
Yep.
wine. So same, concept with love. It might not be as mature or as expressive, but what if it's their capacity? So my thing is, to your point, I think again, you can love multiple people, and might not be that mature love, that safe love or whatnot, but they can technically, just based off the definition, love. Now, is it that deep longing agape love? I think that we all will agree that it's not. But to understand that sometimes people are loving you at your capacity, which is relevant to this conversation right here, right? As we looking for the needle in the haystack. Are they, let's take away from this scenario right here, trying to love two people, but what if they're growing in certain ways to love and express themselves? Specifically for you, me and Misha talked yesterday about the longer you're together, love becomes tailored, right? So it's growing and it's starting to fit you specifically. That takes work, right? If you talk about what a tailor puts in to make that suit fit you perfectly, it's work, and they're measuring your neck and your shoulders and your bust and your waist and your hips and all this stuff right there. It takes
Mhm.
work. And I think if we in the beginning try to water down what someone has the ability to show, that you may be potentially missing out on something great. So that's just my spiel.
Let's talk about some characteristics of what the needle in the haystack actually looks like. So when you
Okay.
do find this great love, what are you expecting to feel, look, see, and touch? Here's one characteristic of a healthy relationship that we spoke about a little bit earlier, but I want to dive a little bit deeper, and that is it's actually scary because it's making you grow. A healthy relationship oftentimes will feel scary because it's making you grow. And we're always asking for, I need someone who's intelligent, emotionally mature, spiritually sound. But then when you meet that person, what they do is they reveal in you the cracks and the gaps, the weaknesses, and the areas you need to grow in. And so a really healthy relationship can feel humbling at times because it
Mm.
shows you your limited capacity and what areas you need to grow in.
Hey, not
So
to
if
put
you're
you on the
with
spot,
someone,
Gregory, but for example, if you don't
mhm,
mind, maybe a example of two of how you can get in a relationship with a mature person and it challenges you.
so we go back to that list, right? And let's just say there's let's say there's a lady named Sarah who's looking for a spiritually mature man. She goes out on a date, and he is quoting scripture, chapter and verse, and she always considered herself to be pretty spiritually sound, but he knows more than her. And so what it is that that's challenging her that I need to be a little bit more savvy now in my faith. Or professionally in business, who is maybe more educated or climbing a corporate ladder, or maybe socially. They know how to network better and they know how to communicate with better. Ambitious. They actually wrote that book. They actually started that podcast. They actually are drawing up that business plan. When you're around the people that are actually making the moves that you only are talking about, you get into these rooms and you go, wow, this is humbling because I'm realizing I'm not all that. And this is the type of room I want to be in. This type of people I want to be with. So I need to step up my game as well.
That's good. I like that example. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Another characteristic of a healthy relationship is that it aligns with your purpose. When you're with a good person, I'm not even gonna say your person, but when you're with a healthy relationship, when you're in a healthy relationship, you feel like you're operating more in your
Mm.
gifts. You feel as though you are stirring up the gift and you feel more excited about showcasing what God has poured into
Mm.
you. And so a good healthy relationship would in for us that are believers is that it wants to it will it ignites you to bring out the God inside of
Mm.
you. Because when the God inside of me connects with the God inside of you, then I want to bring out all the God in both of us. It gets exciting to share your
Yeah.
gifts. And so a healthy relationship aligns with your
And can I
purpose.
add,
You feel excited about
on
something
that if I
high.
will? Sometimes they can help you define your purpose, right? Because when you're doing kingdom business, those are the type of discussions that you're in. Like, what do you want to do in the next 2 years, 5 years, 10 years? So when you're talking about purpose, I know I've experienced being with someone that helped bring my purpose out, and it was life changing, and it is really shaped who I am today to have those
Yeah.
discussions. So I like that you talked about
Yeah.
purpose.
Yeah, because
Yeah. Yeah. And they bring clarity.
Clarity.
it's nothing like being the different tones of light bulbs that you can buy. You got the
Mhm.
daylight
Hmm.
bulb and you got the soft white, and then I'm over here bright as all this, and then I'm come out here doing it outside. But then when I come home, I turn into a soft light.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm. Hmm. Yeah. What happens there is because this person cares enough to investigate you, to learn you, to study you. And so they say, what I see God doing
Mhm.
in you and through you is X, Y, and Z. That's a sign of a healthy relationship where it's not like what I would like for you to do for me, how I want you to dress, or what I want your weight to be, or how you should keep the
Mhm.
house. It's like, you know what? I feel like God is really moving you toward this, and they help push you
Hype me
towards your
up.
purpose.
That's
Hype me
good. So
up.
that purpose may even put you in contact with people outside of that
Right.
relationship. So I think that's a pretty selfless mindset for your mate to have if she or he is pouring into you or stating something that they see in you that could benefit others and not necessarily the people in the relationship. Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's good. Yeah.
You know someone loves you when they would rather see you get what God wants for you than for you to give them what
My,
they
my,
want
my.
from you.
Come on.
Another
Yeah.
another
Yeah.
20. Another 20.
Right now.
I'm up to $30 on the Cash App.
Hey, and just to say that
So
keep the conversations coming, the comments in the comment section. We're gonna get to them.
great. Last characteristic of a healthy relationship, I'm going to jump back into the comments, is this: it is safe to feel vulnerable.
Mm,
Mm,
It is safe to feel vulnerable. We say that a lot, but it is absolutely one of the rarest things to find where your vulnerability doesn't become
yeah,
weaponized against you. When you can let that guard down and know it's not going any further than this room, than this conversation right here. And that person takes that vulnerability and use vulnerability for what it really is intended to be. And that's a teacher. It's to say, this hurts me when this happens. Can you not do that anymore? Vulnerability is a teacher. And when someone really cares, they hear that vulnerability and they say, hey, look, if me doing this hurts you, then I'm not going to do it anymore. So thank you for teaching me how to be better and so safe to be vulnerable is another characteristic of a healthy relationship. Can't,
and if I could just add a couple things on that whole idea of
yeah,
being vulnerable, I'm talking about again, what does that look like when you're being vulnerable? I think you're being transparent, right? And
hmm,
transparent is, if someone asks you something, then you're okay. You're showing your true and real self. And I think the other part of that, and you let me know if you agree with this, is being forthcoming. Because
yeah,
when you're being transparent or willing to answer questions, it's going to only be based off of your capacity and your understanding and your knowledge. You're only going to ask me what you know to ask me. There may be some things that offer more insight into whatever the situation is that you didn't ask, but I know it would be valuable and important for you to know. So being forthcoming with information that you don't even know that you don't know, I think is important part of being vulnerable too.
yeah, absolutely. Because you're absolutely right, Gerard. There's a difference between being honest and being transparent. Honest is I'm going to respond to the question that you want factually. Transparent means I'm gonna give you all of the context that you need to
Yeah,
make the best decision for yourself.
good stuff.
Yeah.
Stuff. Okay.
Yep.
What you got? We ready for the comments, or you got another
I'm ready for the comments. I'm ready for the
man?
smoke.
This is always our favorite part, man. We got Miss Coley showing up, man. We appreciate you, Nicole.
We do, sis.
And we got to
she's
get
in there.
Yeah, we got to get on. We've been saying it for over a year. We got to get her on this show. She does a lot down there in the community. She's heavy in the entrepreneurship world. And guess what? Like you
She got a
heard,
food truck now
she's an
too.
author. Yeah, she's a chef, food truck. She's a lady of many talents, and she's a God-fearing woman. So, hey, uh,
Hey,
we love to
come
have her
on.
on.
Let's have a
Yeah.
conversation.
So, Misha, can you see this entire question? The entire,
I
and if
can,
not,
I
I'll
can,
read.
I can go down to the
Let me
I
do it.
think, I think I found it over here in the well.
Let me do it. I got it.
Okay.
Cole says, when you truly know who you are in Christ, anything not meant for you will be removed. God has a way of clearing paths that aren't aligned with Him. So the moment we recognize there is no relationship with God and no accountability, there's no reason to continue. That's why discernment matters from the very beginning. I've already experienced what it looks like to have the money without the love, and it wasn't enough. What God,
Mm,
what matters now is a heart of God, someone who genuinely reverences Him by living according to His word. Ooh, that's a whole sermon. That's another $20 right there, Misha.
Yeah, my cash app, the money. Hopefully somebody got Apple Pay because I got a little money over there. I
Yeah,
can Apple Pay too.
yeah, so give me what y'all got on this one. This is good. It's a lot there. Anybody?
yeah.
No, I agree. When she said, "When you truly know who you are, anything not meant for you will be removed." And not only will it be removed, but it will no, you will no longer be attracted to it. There's nothing
Ooh,
in sometimes it will not be attracted to you. So people can ask you all day long, well, why you not dating and all these different things? Because at the end of the day, I've sat down with me and I know what this is. I know who I am. Not that I didn't know, but I compromised that. And when you get back where you're supposed to be rooted in Christ and in the plan that He has for you. Matter of fact, the wrong people don't even get to smell you no more. They may say you look like you smell good, but they don't really smell you. Ain't
come
the
on.
right grade. That you look like you smell good, but they don't get the aroma
Yeah.
because it's a different shift. And when you have gotten to a place where you've put in the work, that their fragrance is not even caught by the wrong people anymore.
Yes,
Yeah.
good.
Can you
That's
say
Mhm.
rooted for me one more time?
Rooted.
Okay. All right. There
And
is a
Gregory,
God
and
somewhere.
she also said that's why discernment matters. She says,
Mm-hmm.
I've already
Yes.
experienced what it looks like to have money without the
Mhm.
love,
Come
and it
on.
wasn't enough. So, and just your profession when you're coaching people, I know in our society, but especially in our culture, is a heavy focus on money. And you've always said that money is a tool. But what advice would you give, or how would you follow up her statement when she says that she knows what it looks like to have money without love, and it wasn't enough?
Yeah. A tool is never meant to be a partner. A tool is supposed to is exactly that, just to be a tool. It can never encourage you or build you up, which is what your person is supposed to do. Here's something that she mentioned that I really want to press on is she said the word discernment. And
Mhm.
here's the key. Um, Anything that's meant for you will be removed, but you have to have the discernment to hear God's voice when He's speaking to you. I think it was Oprah Winfrey said that God first speaks to you in a whisper, and then He speaks to in a nudge, and then He throws a brick at you.
Boy, yeah.
Oftentimes, what happens to us, even as children of God, is that we ignore the whisper. And so sometimes God says, I have to make it hurt, or else you wouldn't move.
Man,
And we have to learn to hear God's first and not harden our hearts and think that it's something special about our charm, our charisma, our approach that's going to change this scenario. If God said no, then He meant that. And it's time for us to move away. A lot of times we find ourselves the victim of unnecessary pain because we
Mhm.
don't believe God to be true.
man, come on, preacher. Come on, preacher. Appreciate that comment, Coley. And just her earlier when she was talking about her previous comment, this is not what we meant, but y'all was saying not discrediting her, just looking at different ways to
Different angles. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, and I think that
Coley, we
was
feel
I
you,
think she
sis.
put it on she put it in there before we had got to that
yeah,
part
for sure.
about
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
taking away from her
Yeah.
her
I
statement.
think I think I think what she was saying, she's looking for reciprocity. She wants
Mhm.
someone
Absolutely.
that's going to give to her the way that she gives to them.
Right.
And that's what we all want. And you're absolutely
Yeah.
right. I think that's a fair standard and a fair request to have. If I show up for you, you show up for me. We were just saying in part that some people don't won't always do that. They won't always
Yeah.
show up for you the way you show up for them.
Yeah. And their
And so just be aware.
reciprocity too is not just that you're giving back, but it needs to be equal in passion. If
Mhm.
someone is
Yeah.
giving you their best and you're returning it just to check the box and say that I did something
Right.
on
Right.
Valentine's Day and Mother's Day, I mean, it's going to show. Yeah, it just needs to be with the same fervence and passion as well. So,
Hmm.
Tiffany, appreciate Tiffany for tuning in. Um, she said, "Yes. Who are you when things get hard? We can show our best self when in the best climate controlled environment, right? But what about when it gets tough? Like, who
Yeah,
are you then?"
and I think she was responding to that's when I was in there saying like, if I'm off a little bit and I need can you see that? So it matters because I want to be the same with my mate. When or
Yeah,
even with my brothers, because even when my brothers, I'd be like, I feel like something a little off. Like, something going on. Let's talk about it.
let's talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool,
Hmm.
cool, cool. And
Agree.
she's, we always reference 1 Corinthians 13:4-7. Love is patient, love is kind, as those attributes of mature love. So I encourage everybody to go to 1 Corinthians 13:4-7 and man, make yourself very familiar and fashion yourself out what God considers to be mature love. Um, Tiffany says, "This is why I take my time. I want to see you in every season of life." And I think that's especially important and necessary in our community. You know how you get in certain conversations and you could talk about your own. I'm finna talk about my own right now. There's a lot of trauma in our community, right? We could talk about why it's there, where it came from, and the extent of it. But the truthfulness is there's a lot. And one way that you can help, you know, avoid some of these avoidable traumas is taking your time, as Tiffany said. I know that old saying that love at first sight. And again, I'm not saying that it's not love, but to her point, seeing it in the different seasons, you want to see somebody angry. You want to see if they struggle, especially, in our season years of life when it's a little more urgent and you got a little less room and margin for foolishness. Taking your time could be the antidote to, or one of the antidotes to get into those bad situations, right?
I couldn't agree more. I have a personal wait time before I get into an exclusive relationship, and I encourage everybody else to do the same thing too. Like I put a date on the calendar and say that no, we're not exclusive. We're not a relationship. We're not officially a couple until this amount of time has passed. Is it foolproof? No. There's always going to be new things you're discovering. But however, it does give me what I feel is a reasonable evaluation time that I've collected enough data that by this point
Got it.
in this relationship, I should know if I want to stay or I want to go. So I think it is important to take your time.
So you
Come
said you collect data?
Hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I said what I said.
I mean, you don't have to give a little aggressive in your voice to me
Okay.
because
All right.
I'm not
So
I'm not her anyway. But you exclusive now, right?
I am. I am exclusive.
Is she
Okay.
watching
Yeah.
the show?
Yeah, she watches. She's and
Hey, see,
do you guys believe in love at first sight?
I believe that we can choose to love from the jump.
Okay, I like that response.
I
Yeah.
do
I fell
too.
in love at first life at first sight. I fell in love at first sight. So I know there's a argument that could be made in opposition to that, but
Yeah.
I experienced it with my now girlfriend. Love at first sight.
Right on. Hey, so Coley also says there is no expectation of prayer for someone can give you when you can't pray for yourself. I think there's some truth to that, right? You'll take anything that anybody gives you if you don't understand prayer. I mean, is there some truth to that?
There's no expectation of prayer someone can give you when you can't pray for yourself. I think so. Yeah, I think love begins with you. I think that's the best piece of advice I can give anyone when it comes to love is it starts with you. It starts with understanding what does love look like, feel like to you, and can you first give that to yourself? And so there's no expectation of how I should show up, how I should wine and dine you, how I should charm, how we should laugh, unless you found that what love feels like, looks like within your own body. You're just going to be chasing waterfalls.
Especially at a high level, or you're going to
Hmm.
accept some cheap counterfeit version of it and
Hmm.
normalize it. Yeah.
Yeah.
She says, "My Gerard, yes, you get it." Next comment. Hey man, listen, bro.
Amisha, what we gonna do? What we gonna do with
You know,
Man, y'all saw it. Y'all saw it. So Jocelyn says, "Are you dating anyone else during that time?" So Gregory, this is a question for you. When you're talking about you giving that time period before you're exclusive, do you date
it? Hmm.
anyone else during that time? First, define what dating is in your mind, and then, if you don't mind answering that question.
Yeah. The answer is no. Defining dating. Dating is to me. I have chose a target, if you will, for lack of a better word. I've chosen someone of interest that I
Okay, I
want to
like that
focus
better.
on. I have someone of interest that I want to focus on, that I want to give time and attention to. So dating to me is the a relatively form of exclusivity with all of the responsibility that comes to it. Like I am taking my time to understand you, but we don't have the high level of commitment or responsibility toward each other. That if you chose to walk away, you found what you perceive to be better, you can, and there's no hard feelings. Am I dating someone else at that time? No, I am not. Now, that's just a me thing. I've always been the type of man that could only date one woman at a time. I could never, I tried it, it didn't work. I could never date more than one person at a time. So my whole life has just been that way. I've always been a one woman type of guy.
Man, good for you, man. That's good. And
at times I wish I would have been a date 'em all type of chick.
yeah,
I mean,
that's that other saying, like date them all, sis. But
I mean, I ain't
that's
never
another
been her,
topic.
but you know what? I mean, no, I'm just saying,
Yeah.
no, that ain't what I do.
Hey, Jocelyn, we appreciate that comment right here. And
Yeah, thank you, Jocelyn. And
yeah,
hey,
I see. If you don't mind, take this one.
it's easier to stay broken. Being broken doesn't make you take accountability in the roles we played in breaking our own hearts.
Come on with the preaching.
Coley bringing the fire today, ain't you?
Yeah,
Thank you,
Being
sis.
broken doesn't make you take accountability.
yeah. She's
It
saying that
is
it's
easier to stay
easier to
broken.
stay broken because you stay broken now. You don't have to do the hard stuff that Greg was talking about earlier
Right.
when
No,
you
I'm just processing. Yeah. It's easy
yeah,
to stay
yeah.
broken.
Yeah, yeah, it is. It is. That ain't nothing but the devil, though.
Yeah.
Because it is not God's desire for us to stay broken. It's not God's desire for us to settle for mediocrity. God wants the best for us. And that is, again, it goes back to my statement, love starts with you first. Knowing
Mm.
what love feels like, looks like for you within your own body, and knowing the life that God really wants for you to have. God didn't create you to be mediocre. God created you to be great, right? And so a great God wants you to have a great love. And so
Yeah.
being broken is not the way to it's not the way to go. It doesn't honor you and it doesn't honor God.
Yeah. You know, Misha and Gregory, I remember back in our days when we were in the world, when we were in them streets, you know, you can get with someone broken because it didn't challenge you to be better. You almost had
Yeah.
a built-in excuse to give your bare minimum, if anything at all. And I remember it's been a year or so ago, I heard this video on social media where this lady actually admitted that a lot of women that she knows do that. They intentionally date down so that they can have an excuse to do the buffoonery and the foolishness that they do.
Mm.
Well, I'm doing it because look who I'm with. And again, it's like a built-in at-home excuse to live the life that they want to live.
Well, imagine that.
Imagine that.
What
Imagine.
show was she on? I want
Yeah,
to
yeah,
full of let's what a full video, you know, they
yeah,
say.
yeah. It was a little raw. It was a little raw. But this was a good
Yeah.
show. We went over a little bit, but this is where we're gonna let Gregory wrap up the discussion, give us some takeaways, and then I'm gonna let you, Gregory, if you don't mind,
Trauma bonding, that's right.
when you're done.
Corey said it's trauma bonding. It's fun
Yeah,
until you wake up.
yeah,
Yeah.
What is
Yeah.
that? The
Trauma
GPS?
bonding, yeah, trauma bonding can actually feel pleasurable. So you want to stay away from that because it just gives you a sense of security because you can identify with someone. So you don't
that
want
is
that.
so true. I remember telling the
Trauma,
ex one
trauma
time
bonding
that
is a codependency.
yeah, I remember
Hmm.
telling the ex one time, was like, yeah, I don't want nobody that ain't been through anything. I want somebody that's the, and it sounded right, right in my mind. I'm like, okay, you got
Hmm.
some
Hmm.
resilience built up in you. You can endure the hard times, but it's almost like we were inviting this trauma to stay relevant in our lives
Yeah.
and not
Yeah.
heal from,
Yeah.
grow from it.
Yeah.
So yeah,
You're creating a ceiling that you're comfortable with. Yeah. You're not going to
absolutely.
grow past that ceiling. Yeah.
And can you see that one, Gregory?
Yeah, the GPS method is the best way to go. Forgive yourself, then you make the wrong turn and recalculate and get back on track. Yeah, 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 exactly. And I've seen a video on social media that says, when you do make a wrong turn, the GPS simply says recalculate it. It doesn't insult you. It doesn't say that you're stupid or that you're dumb or it's never going to work out or you're just meant to
Right.
be sad, you're meant to be alone. It
Yeah.
just simply says recalculate it. And it simply says keep going, we'll find a different way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I love that.
And one more from Jocelyn. I see you want to take this one.
During this probationary period, is your expectation that she also focuses on just you?
Oh, that was for Gregory too. Come on,
Yeah.
man. You're on the
Yes,
hot seat.
yes.
No pressure.
You are
No
in the
pressure.
line tonight, bright boy.
Yeah, yeah. I only align myself with someone who has similar values, and so pretty early on in the courtship, we get to know each other, and I say, well, I'm the type of guy who can only focus on one woman at a time, and if she says, well, I'm that same type of lady, or I'm not, then that is my first red flag or my first green flag, whether should I go or whether should I stay. So I would not continue a probationary period with someone who doesn't share that same value. Like, let's just focus on each other for a little while and see where this goes.
So, in other words, your target might not be a bullseye.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. 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 Gergen, now one more time, we're gonna let you wrap up discussion and give us some pointers to go home with, and then when you're done, I'm gonna let you punt it to IC.
You don't have to punt it all the way tonight. Go ahead. I'm
In the
already-
book of in the book of Hebrews, around verse 25, read it if you got time. The word of the Lord thy God says, anything that can be shaken will be shaken. So I think that it is reasonable for us to anticipate that as we're looking for our needle in a haystack, that when we find this great person, challenges will present themselves. A shaking is going to occur. Don't let that scare you. Don't let that rattle you. Accept it as normal. because it's only from the shaking and the rattling do you fully understand how strong your foundation is. If you never would test it, you would never know how strong you were. And so if you're being shaken and you're being discouraged, know that that's part of the process of growing, because God only shakes you or rattles you to show you how strong you are and how capable He is. I see, it's
Man,
yours.
I felt like you was finna go into a Baptist sermon. I felt like you was doing this. That tremor was about to come up. I thought you was finna keep going.
I was
Um,
about to. I had to hold back. I had to hold back.
let the Lord use you. This may blow your mind. What I'm about to say. If the position of wife is not in the profile, or husband, are you willing to be effectively single and in love with the Lord and do his work and be happy with that?
Come on now. Come on. Come on.
Because there's two sides to this thing in the Bible. Paul did say that when you single, you're more effective for the Lord. You don't even have to have
Mm,
nobody. You got to even go back and have a conversation with other than the Lord and the Holy Spirit. But it's the desires of what your heart is. And I know we can come on with certain things that, oh, we want love and we've expected love. However, I feel when you get to a place that you have found the joy of loving you, I don't feel like it's the forefront of it's not the I may want the desire of it, but I don't make it this thing that if it don't happen, then there's something wrong. When you learn to be completely with yourself and God, you will allow all of these things to take place. And because he says, I knew you before when I formed you in your mother's womb, and I know the plan that I have for you. If we would just yield to his plan and said, you know what, I trust you with every part of me, every detail I know you have in place. And you will align me with the proper mate that will allow me to function and flow and to be all of that you would have us to be according to the word. And in the event that I am a Priscilla, and I got an Aquila over here. He is not intimidated by the fact that you have called me to do something in the earth. And if you give me a man that got to do the work of God, if he gives you that you are able to say, I'll load the gun with the oil and I'll spread, because we are a tag team situation. I just believe that when we learn how to be team players, that I may not be good at the 3-point line, but I'm good at the free throw. I mean, the 3-point line, but I'm good at the free throw. And if we're just able to calibrate that ball to get it to where we need and get the perfect shot and get the point, even when we have defenders coming, which may be some old things in us that we need to work on, that's going to come up to try to make us, forfeit to play or, knock it out of bounds. How will we go to the depths to go and rebound it, to get back into the proper player perspective to make the goal count? And when the buzzer hits zero, that we out here just say, you know what, we did it together. So that's what I would say. So I just want us to be able to be comfortable enough to know that if your season is not dating right now, are you comfortable enough to still walk around, whether this man or woman, and just be who you are confidently and just walk this thing out
yeah.
until the connection comes, the covenant connection. Let me put some covenant on that thing.
Come on, Misha.
And when you get that, then you're able to flow and go with it. And then you will know that even with Jesus, he it was a choice for us to choose him. And it's going to be a choice for somebody to make the right choices to do what's necessary for the relationship to go into something that goes into covenant, and we get married, you're married and you're flourishing and you're doing it. Will things come to test you to see if you're going to be able to be sustainable? They will, because even the devil tempted Jesus. You see what I'm saying? So it's all about how that you put in the time to mature with yourself, that so that you know how to be emotionally available for the person that you're going to be, because you're doing it for yourself, and you don't let anything come in and interrupt that flow. And so that's my take on it tonight. If your
Mm.
season is in the single department right now, Joe, enjoy it, baby. Because when the last time I checked me, I was like, they was like, well, how you glowing?
Cuz.
It's cuz.
It's good. I love it. I
Because
love
I'm
it.
working
I
on me
love
and
it.
I'm pouring into
That's
me,
great.
and it feels good. And so I don't look at myself and say that there's something wrong. I'm not rushing trying to get in. I've been single for 4 years now. 4. Huh? Huh? I mean, I got a little bit more gray hair, but I feel like that's because I'm maturing so nicely around this place. But anyway, I just feel like this has been the biggest turning point in my life these last 4 years, but it has allowed me to really sit with me, and I'm intentional about me. And I'm intentional. And I've had my children to be hold me accountable and to show me some things that I can work on. And when I can do take those things from the people that you birthed out and they can help you along the way, I know he got the right one that'll be able to tend to me and hold me correctly and to know how to handle me like the precious little teacup of jewel that I am. And it's gonna be all
Hmm.
right. And
Come on.
he gonna act just like that shoe that he like and that watch that he has in his car. As well as he tend to the things that's important, he gonna look at me the same way.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to fret anything, but I will definitely be able to use my voice, not to disrespect him or to dishonor him, but for him to hear me, to see me, and to know that I value me and I know that there's worth in me and I have substance. And I just need you to be able to nurture me into purpose and to be there to stand with me and to say, I got you covered. Let's do this thing together. And that's it. That's all.
I
That's
love
good.
it.
That's good.
I
A
love
couple
it.
things just real quick on my end. Two things that stood out. Identity. You know who you are according to him and not what the world says you are. And I
Yeah.
think that's invaluable to a level of understanding. But the other you talked about knowing about seasons. Life happens largely in seasons. And I think if we understood that, it'd help us slow down and
Mm,
pause. And if we're petitioning God for whatever it is, a mate, opportunity, a job, that we can be a little more patient. And as Coley said earlier, discerning, because when those distractions come, they look like everything that you have asked God for. But when you peel back the layers of that onion, that joker stinks. So the seasons part. But as you're waiting, this verse right here came to mind. Matthew 7:11, it says, if you then, though you are evil, know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more will your Father in heaven give you good gifts to those who are asking him? A lot of us are asking God specifically for something, and we've been asking and asking and asking, and he still ain't delivered. The beautiful thing about this verse is it tells us that sometimes what we want ain't what we need. And sometimes what we want is detrimental to our health and well being. If God is good and he knows all things, why would he give you what you're asking for? So, my thing is, you might not understand it, but maybe it's time to inventory yourself and think about what you're asking for and understand, like, is that just feeding the flesh or is it feeding the spirit and soul? And
mm,
if it's not, maybe you got to change your prayers. It says that delight yourself in the Lord, and He'll give you the desires of your heart. And I think that's an important part to consider when you're asking God for something. So that's it. That's it. We got a couple other last little comments before we get out of here. Color Brown said, "Amen. If you never do it, you've already done enough." So that was to you, Misha, earlier when you were talking about, you know, it might not be that time or it may not come and you're okay with who you are. So that's a very, very mature thought process right there. Hidden and serving.
mm,
Um, that's heavy. That's heavy right here. I'm talking to a good friend a few weeks ago, and she's been going through it for a while. And she was like, I don't know what to do. And I told her to serve your way through it. And it was a sermon that I had heard years ago when I was dealing with some stuff. And the pastor told us, when you're going through it, find out how you can serve in those things that you have already overcome. And it helps you to recognize that sometimes it's not as bad as you think it is.
mm,
One thing that y'all have heard this post, sometimes you're living in the things that you've already prayed for.
mm,
You're anxious and uncomfortable because you're worried about what hadn't happened already. And
mhm.
so understanding those small battles and having joy in what God has already delivered can help in that space right there.
Yeah, Jocelyn said, "Come on now, sis."
Yeah,
Now
yeah,
that's the hard part.
yeah, right on, right on. So this was good. I
It
appreciate
was.
everybody. Y'all, any last thoughts before we close it out?
I hope that people's takeaways from tonight's show is this: the love of your life should be the love of your life. It should be loving the life that you created. It should be loving the gifts that God has put inside of you. It should be loving each day that you wake up. The love of your life should be the love of your life.
Oh man, I like that, man.
Oh yeah, that's so. When I gather from that, that should be anything you connect to. It should be giving you life.
Yeah,
If
that's
it's taken, if you fading away, let me tell you something. If you going good now and you get to connected to something and you begin to go the other way, that is not it. And don't come with me talking about no happy weight either. I was happy fine. If I get thick, don't necessarily think that's a good thing that everybody over there happy because they get thicker in some situations. I'm just saying, okay, I'm gonna leave that alone.
Yeah, Gregory, thank the people closes out, sir.
Well, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for watching this evening. We hope that you enjoyed your time with us because we definitely enjoyed our time with you. It is always our pleasure every week to come back and bring these conversations to you guys. We hope that it is educating and edifying because we got nothing but love for you. So, hey, the Floor is Yours podcast is exactly that. It is your podcast. So please keep the comments coming. Amisha, myself, and Gerard, we like to sneak back in those comments from time to time. So don't be surprised if you hear from us a few days from now, a few hours from now, or even a few months from now. Hey, we love you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Until next time, we love you. Peace, love, hair grease. We out.
Love y'all.
Need another, this one here really do it for you. Baby,